So here we are again, back by unpopular, and for some people at least, long-awaited demand. As you can see from the title, I'm finally getting to it. The Poet and the Pendulum, a somewhat intimidating song. Maybe not for the reasons you might expect, not because of its length, not even necessarily because of its emotional intensity or its poetry, even, which is that poetic lyrics are kryptonite to me. The most intimidating thing about doing this song is the knowledge of how important this song is to the Nightwish fan base. Now, I have an interesting relationship with Nightwish. I'm new to the band. Whenever I do a non-Nightwish song, I lose a couple of subscribers who I suspect are Nightwish fans going, it's still not Poet and the Pendulum. Whenever I do a Nightwish song, I get a lot more views than I'd get with anything else, because the Nightwish fans take Nightwish very, very seriously. They care very deeply. And knowing that, I want to do this particular song justice, because I know how important it is. I know that I couldn't name all the people that have asked me to do this song, because it's just been a constant theme throughout the time I've been looking at Nightwish. And what was it? W.B. Yeats, I looked this up. He said in a poem, I have spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly because you tread on my dreams. And I want to tread softly with this song. I don't want to tread on anybody's dreams. And also, I mean, let's be clear. Since early in this channel's history, somebody said to me, get to the song quickly as you can. Don't spend too much time talking before the song. You'll lose viewers. I'm not doing that this time. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna be as all deliberate speed, because if you're here for this, you're here. And if me taking an extra minute or so to get to it is the thing that's going to stop you watching, better you go now anyway, because this is going to be, I'm going to embrace this music. I'm going to try and see it and hear it like a baby, to use Steve Hogarth's term. I'm going to try and approach it as I approach all the music with a sense of looking for the narrative as it's suggested to me. No pandering, no performance, no patronizing, no confirmation bias at all. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not here to go, hey, wow, that's awesome. Amazing. Don't know how they do that. I'm not here to make a thumbnail in a big impact font picture of me going, how did they possibly do that, so that you can see how much I enjoy the song. I'm here to do the song because I enjoy the song, and because I get something specific out of it, and because I've gone into the song and I've dived in and I've looked for the thing that speaks to me. And my hope is that when I see it and hear it like a baby and discuss it as it speaks to me, that something in that will maybe speak to you and possibly even allow you to see it from a slightly different angle. I don't think I can say anything revelatory about what this song is about. I think if you're a Nightwish fan, you know the story of the song. You know the background of the song. You know, you formed an opinion about which singer it's about and which time in Tuomas's history it's about, and what the sort of subtextual narrative of the band is related to this song. We'll talk about that probably, because I did take a look at that, but I'm not here to try and, with this particular reaction, I'm not here to spend too much time trying to unpick line by line Tuomas's poetry. What I wanted to do was react to this piece of art and respond to it in terms of how it speaks to me. And as we get to the end, we'll see that it speaks to a very particular part of my soul, a very important part of my storytelling and my writing as a creative person in my field. So hopefully, as I tread very softly on the dreams you have laid before my feet, hopefully that tread will bring us closer together. And with that, I'll press a button over here and I'll get rid of that because it's just distracting me. And I'll say, I'll see you on the other side of this. It's nearly 14 minutes long, so we should be done with this video by Thursday. This is The Poet and the Pendulum. I don't know what that whispering is. Answers on a postcard. We'll jump back. I don't want to stomp on that. I went looking for two things in this opening sequence. I went looking to find out what the Empathica reference is. I found out it's from the Stephen King book, the Gunslinger series, I think. Two Towers, was it? And I got to be honest, Empathica, not Stephen King's finest hour. Maybe he came up with that in the same meeting they came up with Unobtainium for Avatar. But Empathica, the definition was the white lands of Empathica, snowy tundra located in Endworld. The residents of Empathica are known for their abilities to empathize and share other people's emotions. Clearly very important for the subtext of this song. The other thing I looked up was who this choir boy is, because I hoped, little sliver of my soul hoped, that it was Tony Blair's son. Yes, the son of the ex-British Prime Minister, who was the choir boy on Stephen Wilson's Routine, the incredible song he did with Nanette. And it would have been a super amazing thing for me if there was that deep pull connection between these two pieces of music. Sadly, it wasn't him. Can't remember the name of the boy. Go and look it up. It's on the internet. I think it was a Welsh boys' choir. We've started at the end of the writer's life, the end of this creative phase of his life, more importantly, but the end of the creative life out of which will be rebirth. As Tuomas, I'm sure you all know, as Tuomas says, he had to kill himself in a song so he wouldn't kill himself in life. That's the place he was in life. And subsequently, as we know, he's talked about his own death, killing himself creatively in order to be reborn more than once. We've started at the end, which is a very movie thing to do. Fractured narrative, we call it. Let's jump back because clearly that's a moment. Lovely image. Okay. Can't remember what the first Nightwish song I did was, but I do remember I struggled to find the term for this type of this type of operatic metal, but I do remember that the sort of thrash component jarring me a little bit, not being entirely my bag. It might be that I've listened to more than of Nightwish since then. It might be that this is just so much better. But what a fantastic energy that section gives us. Lyrically, yes, we've established this is a song written by a man who in his life was reaching an emotional crossroads. It was the point at which his relationship with the previous singer was falling to pieces. Clearly, from all the reading I've done, that relationship was a emotionally deep one, an important one for him and for her. Who knows what the depths and breadths of that relationship were. But here we have a man feeling like potentially his creative life has come to an end. Now, I can relate to that. I think I've talked on this channel about feeling like my creative life came to an end when my work partner in the Boom Boom Boys ended our professional relationship. I think I've talked about how at that moment I was ready to walk away entirely from my career, a career that in the last 15 years has been arguably more successful and more expansive than ever it was in the previous 15. But at that moment, I was ready to die creatively, to give up, to walk away. So I can completely relate to Tuomas feeling that sense of my life is over. I'm not Finnish. I'm not quite as melancholy as this amazing Finn. So I probably was never at a point that I wanted to kill myself or, in fact, anybody else. But I certainly understand the idea of wanting to commit creative harikiri. There's a couple of things that I find very, very interesting in this writing, recurring themes for Tuomas. One of them is this idea of the writer that is writing is still the one last perfect verse is still the same old song. That theme of being the creative person whose product, which is on one level the outpouring of your soul, but on another is just a product that is just a repetition of the same thing. Oh Christ, how I hate what I have become. When I first looked at that, I was reminded, again, I went and got some references for this. I was reminded thematically of Real Tears for Sale, the Marillion song. But I was also lyrically reminded of a lyric in the song Interior Lulu, which I might look at some stage. And the lyric is, you wrote this down so many times, but you get up anyway and you write it down again. You've bored us all to death with this. Who you going to tell when there's nothing left to sell? That's Steve Hogarth expressing that sense of almost the desperate need to write, but the sense that in writing you're just repeating the same old pattern. It seems like at the very least a common theme among people who put their heart on their sleeve and then offer their hand and their arm to the world. They offer their sleeves to the world, and there's got to be some emotional cost to putting Real Tears on sale, right? And then we get into, there's some wonderful things in this chorus. The thing that strikes me the most, there's two things here actually. I cannot cry because the shoulder cries more. What a wonderful way of saying I can't cry because the person I would usually go to for sympathy is crying more than I am. That's what we're saying, right? I cannot cry because the shoulder cries more. The person I would go to for comfort is themselves broken. That's astonishing. But here, and then, yes, we've got a whore for the cold world, which echoes the idea of the whoring of your art, the writing of the same old song. But then we've got this one, I have but two faces. One for the world, the professional, the man that goes out on stage and plays his mighty organ, plays on his mighty organ, plays with his mighty organ, insert joke, answers on a postcard, and one for God save me. So outside I'm showing the world this, inside I'm saying God save me. That the idea of your two faces being a public face and a private howl of pain, I love those lyrics. It's in a very powerful chorus. I said I wasn't going to break down these lyrics line by line, but there's some stunning moments in this chorus, and this theme, this idea of feeling that you've come to a creative full stop. Maybe it's because of COVID. Maybe it's because of all manner of things. Maybe it's just a feature of age. But that speaks quite deeply to me as a man who makes a living typing words onto a page. And how I have asked myself for a long time, when they stop paying me, the test of whether I'm an artist or a whore is if I still feel the need to write when no one's paying for the words. That's a question I've yet to answer. Lovely moment. What a charming man. I have to stop it because it's just occurred to me as I look at this. I mean, the music of Marillion is so different to the music of Nightwish, but I suspect that there are kindred spirits in Tuomas and Steve Hogarth. Please, no more praise. Thoughts from a severed head, no more praise. What's the line? They send you pictures of yourself. It's someone you don't know. And you feel like a fake. Another song I'm going to have to do. King, I think. They send you pictures of yourself. It's someone you don't know. When you're at that point when you feel creatively done and people are still telling you you're a genius, 1 million people can tell you you're a genius. If your heart's telling you you're done, take me home. Great performance. Wow. Power in that performance. Beautiful sequence. The dynamic tension in the song, that sort of contrast between this almost classical composition and the energy of the first sequence is amazing. I know. So here we go. Tread softly lest you tread on my dreams. I know for a lot of the Nightwish fans, this type of performance, this operatic performance, is your absolute sweet spot. I also know it's not mine. It's not where I live, performance-wise. But the quality of this performance is undeniable. If I remember right, this sequence was performed by the testes-free choir boy, and to have it here performed at this level, there's no question to the power of this performance. This is not my sweet spot, but it's beautiful, without question. My sweet spot in Floor's performance is coming. This is not it, but I can but admire it. And Tuomas is doing what Tuomas is doing. He's writing about music and death, which is again so Steve Hogarth, so Marillion. He's writing about the ocean. He's writing about pain, and he's writing about love and the loss of love, and he's pouring his heart into the song. It's a very moving sequence. If it were in another language, it would be moving. If it were being performed with a banjo and a harpsichord, it would be moving, because it's beautifully composed. Just beautifully composed. Simple as that. Beautiful. Cinematic. Little bit of Pirates of the Caribbean here. Bruckheimer. It's a movie.
I'm afraid, so afraid, being raped again and again and again. I know I will die alone, but loved. You live long enough to hear the sound of guns, long enough to find yourself screaming every night, long enough to see your friends betray you. For years, I've been strapped onto this altar. Now I only have 3 minutes and counting. I just wish the tide would catch me first, and give me a death I always longed for.
Okay. Yeah. My sense is from reading and from looking and from trying to understand that this is sort of. I've only ever read one piece of literature in my life. I'm a shameless pulp fiction reader. Tequila Mockingbird, the great song about bar mixers and cocktails. Tequila Mockingbird is the only genuine classic I think I've ever read in my life, and it's one of the most amazing books I've ever read. I haven't read the book, but I believe this is sort of referencing the book, and it's all about the death of the poet. It's all about the torture of the poet. And the interesting thing, the thing that pings me in this lyric here is, I know I will die alone, but loved. And the way that's said, again, it comes back to, for me, 1 million people can adore you. You can sell millions of records. Everyone can be telling you you're the maestro and the genius. You can be alone. You can feel alone. And that's what I think he was feeling here. And it's deeply, deeply it's deeply sobering to recognize that you can live to achieve everything people would suspect. You can live to achieve every possible success that people would think would give you happiness and not be happy. You know, the old cliche is money can buy you everything but love and happiness. Can't buy you friends, it can buy you a better class of enemy. But the truth of the matter is, the poorest person on the planet can be happier than the richest, I think. I don't know. Maybe that's glib. But clearly for Tuomas in this place and time, being Tuomas wasn't enough. And that's why Tuomas had to die. Is it Marco's turn? Am I right? Okay. I'm going to pause. I think it's Marco's turn now. I think I remember thinking when I first watched this video, it almost looked like a crucified man at the front of this keyboard. And we're certainly getting into this great operatic section. So, a question for those of you that are way more musical than me, and I freely admit I am not musical. Tread softly, for you tread on lest you tread on my dreams, for you tread on my dreams. No offense at all intended. Tuomas is an amazing composer. He creates great soundscapes and music. For the musical among you, if there are any out there that can tell me this, is this band a particularly good group of musicians? Not do they create great music, are they a particularly good group of musicians? I suspect the drummer's pretty smart, but because of the nature of the music that tends to be more my sweet spot, I can tell that Geddy Lee is an incredible bass player because of the nature of the bass that he plays. I can tell that Nick Beggs is an astonishing bass player because of the nature of the bass he plays. I can tell that Govan Guthrie is amazing, that Alex Lifeson is amazing, that Richie Blackmore was amazing. It's easier to tell with the more prog end of my musical taste where the great musicians are. In just the same way as I know that the American band Live, who I've not yet touched on this channel, but are some of my favorite musicians, I know they're not great musicians. They're not particularly technically skilled. They write great songs, but you're not sitting there going, he's in the top 10 guitarists of all time. I don't know if anybody on this stage, apart from Floor, who can sing like a MF, I don't know if anybody else on this stage is a particularly great musician, as in sort of top flight, astonishing, brilliant musician. I know that the combination of them creates this incredible soundscape. But tell me, give me. Don't just tell me what you know. I'm not asking, do you like them? I'm not asking, do you love the music? I'm not asking, is the music great? I'm saying, are the collective parts that make up this music, are they in themselves particularly brilliant musicians, or is it the nature of the composition and is the whole greater than the sum of its parts? I can't tell. I'm not musical enough to know, and I genuinely am interested to know. Answers on a postcard. There's the drummer. can we just say, oh, Marco, why did you go? I love Marco's energy. I don't think he's going to sing any lullabies anytime soon, but I love the raw energy of his vocal performance. It's an interesting reference, the second rubber to the right of Christ. I think he was the one that acknowledged that Christ was the Christ, wasn't he not? Cut in half infanticide is probably a reference to the wisdom of Solomon. The idea that the world will rejoice as the crows feast on the rotting poet, that's quite intriguing because we've already admitted that the world thinks you're amazing, mate. Marco, I only just found him and he left. Was it something I said? The combination of these two voices together it's what is it? It's peanut butter and jelly. It's something that almost feels like it shouldn't work, but it really does. The two of them together in the same song is fantastic. There's some incredibly interesting hints here. You know, the passion play, the idea of a dark, but the passion play is a play that shows the crucifixion of Christ. We've referenced Christ at the top of the sequence. The reference to send not for whom the bell tolls for thee. Another little lyrical connection to Rush there, and losing it. Another lyric I would probably have to talk about at some stage. Sadder still to watch it die than never to have known it. For you, the blind who once could see, the bell tolls for thee. Was it Hemingway? Not sure. I'm not a literary person. The passion play performed by his friends without shame, spitting on his grave as they came. Tuomas was feeling so betrayed, so let down. I wonder if later on he came to decide that. I wonder how now he apportions blame in all of that. I wonder if his heart has softened or hardened in this time. I suspect it's softened. I suspect that their relationship is better now than it was. But boy, can I relate to the passion play. Yeah.
Today, in the year of our Lord 2005, Tuomas was called from the cares of the world. He stopped crying at the end of each beautiful day. The music he wrote had too long been without silence. He was found naked and dead, with a smile on his face, a pen, and 1,000 pages of erased text.
So there we have it. So far, 1,000 pages of erased text. Wanting to wipe out everything he'd done, eh? Wanting to, smiling at the point when he'd ended it. Creative suicide. the creative death of the creative man, because it was the only way he could see to move forward. Moving forward. Beautiful. Sorry. The filmmaker in me says, watch the shot of Tuomas from profile. Watch how the bass in this particular part of the song is physically making the lens flex. I've seen that a couple of times in Marillion live concerts that we filmed. The bass is physically flexing the lens. It's like a heartbeat. This is the bit. I specifically stopped previously to point out that the previous version of this melody wasn't my jam. This was my jam. I know she's singing effectively the same melody, but in this performance, it edges slightly more towards that rock performance where it's not quite as perfect, it's not quite as operatic, it's not quite as perfectly pitched. But within the emotional core of this performance, the honesty and the beauty and the emotional purity of this performance speaks to my soul. This is an amazing moment of performance, and Marco's little BVs joining in there are just gorgeous. This sequence is, it's just brilliant. Just Beautiful. Beautiful. Lovely moment. So I came for the epic. I stayed for this last two verses. In truth, it's epic. It carries with it all of the baggage of the time and the place. Tuomas himself has talked about how it's strangely hard to perform it now. Look at, a man 15 years later, when this is performed, it's taking him back to a person that he no longer is, to a time that was difficult. All of that is fantastic. All of that makes it a great story. As a 13-minute piece of music, it's an epic. All of that's good. This last two verses is great, because this last two verses is the thing that I cherish and value most in all the world as a storyteller. And that simply is redemption. The reason we started at the end and ended at the beginning is that at the end of this song, Tuomas wrote his own redemption. He wrote past his creative death to his creative rebirth. And where did he find his rebirth? He found it in the theme of this channel, Or You Could Love. He found redemption. All you need is to feel my love. I will always love you. That's where it was. You Have Such Oceans Within just pinged me now, because once again, thematically, other lyrics by other bands. Neil Peart wrote about I am born in the dust of stars, the ocean flows in my veins. It's all there. But this some summary of this last two verses is the reason why this song is elevated from being epic and great to being epic and great and important. Because in him writing his own redemption, he tells us where we may all find ours. The blade will keep on descending. You'll die one day. COVID will get you, or the car you didn't see, or just the inevitable tick, 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 tick of the clock. We'll all die one day. The blade will keep descending. But that's no excuse to become cold. Search for beauty. Find your shore. Try to save them all. It doesn't say save them all. It says try to save them all. Bleed no more. You have such oceans within. In the end, I will always love you. The beginning. The beginning. All you need is to feel my love. I will always love you. Or you could love. Only love can turn you around. In love we find redemption. And in redemption we find truth and story and purpose and hope. Redemption doesn't have to be a happy ending. Not everybody has to live for there to be redemption. A character doesn't have to get what they wanted, or what they deserved, or what they needed for them to get redemption. These are the codes of the stories I try to write, and they are the codes of the stories I try to write because they are the truth of the world I try to inhabit. You won't always get what you want. You'll get what you deserve, maybe. I loved these last two verses. I loved the performance of these last two verses. I could literally hit rewind and just listen to them again. That performance from Floor there with the the Marco's BVs at the end are just perfect. Just perfect. But the emotional core of this song, the underpinning of this song, the redemption of this song, all you need is to feel my love. I will always love you. Tuomas wrote his own end so that he could write a beginning. And why I think that speaks to so many of you, to me, is because in doing that for himself, he illustrates our ability to do it for ourselves. To find a new beginning, to find a hope, to find redemption, to find the motivation to search for beauty and try, not do. There doesn't have to be do, there only needs to be try. Yoda was full of shit. And on that bombshell, thanks for watching. I hope I didn't tread on your dreams. I hope I did this song that you love justice. I hope maybe to see you again. Until then, keep the faith.